I've had several people question how to raise baby chicks, and really it depends. If you're just starting or if you're introducing chicks to your flock that you bought at a store, you're gonna need to brooder them. What I typically do is I'll raise them inside for a week, say, and all you really need is a tote because they can't jump out of it, they can't fly when they're very young, and so you can raise them in a tote for say a week inside, and then I move them to the brooder, and I'll show you the brooder, and you can also go to the video on my channel. I'll put it in the description where I showed how to build this. Very simple. But you're going to need to raise them in the brooder until they're old enough and big enough to fend for themselves, because when you're introducing to a flock, if it's new chickens, they're going to get picked on, so they need to be big enough to kind of defend themselves. But the easiest way, once you have a flock, instead of buying new chicks and introducing and having to go through the stress of reintroducing, oh, and it's very important that when you do introduce new chickens to the flock, that you do it at night. The best way is when they're at night, they're on the roost, they're in the coop, and it's dark. You introduce the new chickens, they'll all roost together, they wake up in the morning, they come out the coop together, and they'll acclimate a lot better. If you just throw them in there in the middle of the day, it's gonna be a brawl. So always introduce them at night on the roost. But for me, a much easier way is to just let the mamas hatch. So if I decide I want to have a few more chickens, or there's some that are getting old, then just because I have a rooster and the eggs are fertilized, I will just take one of my nest boxes and not pick those, and I'll pick all the rest out, and then they'll lay in that one, and the mamas will set it and hatch it when they're born. The mamas will take care of them. They stay in the coop with the mamas. They come out, they feed with the rest of the chickens, and I'll show you how I do that. But it's really simple, low maintenance, almost no work at all as compared to raising them in the brooder. Is a little bit more labor intensive, not a lot, but it's definitely easier when the mama's raising them for you. So I'll show you how we do it.
My hen hatched a baby. I don't know if she might have more than one hatched, but definitely one hatched. Gate, so we don't get out. Plus daddy's gonna be mean. There we go. Yeah, I know, you keeping an eye on things. Alright. There we go, there's the last one coming out. So we got two little chicks that this mama hatched. And she's scally now. She's cat's being a little snoopy. She's raising them in the coop and with the flock, and so a lot of people have asked, and we do have a brooder, but this is really a much easier way. If you have a good mama, she will take care of them, she will protect them, she will guard them, she keeps them, even though they're small enough to walk out of the fence, she keeps them away from the fence, she calls them to her. It took them about 3 days to be able to get big enough to learn how to go back up the ramp to get in the coop. So for the first 3 days, they're drinking out of the water with the rest of the chickens like they're just big old chickens, part of the flock. They don't even care. But it took them about 3 days to learn how to get back in the coop. So every night after dark, I would have to come and pick her up and pick them up and put them back in the coop. But it only took, like I said, about 3 days. And then by then, and she was consistently trying to teach them. Like, she would go up and down, up and down, up and down, and they would follow her a little bit and then jump off. But after about 3 days, they learned. And then now they go in the coop with her at night, and they just rest with her. During the day, they come out, they eat. My chickens drink out of a kiddie pool because I rarely have to fill it. We have enough rainwater to keep it full, but every once in a while I might have to fill it. But of course the chicks can't drink out of a kiddie pool, so for right now I put that in there just to make sure that they can get access to some water until they're big enough to drink out of the pool with them. Look to mama, she's fussing at that other hen. Okay, and then normally I put their feed into another kiddie pool, but right now I'm just throwing it on the ground so that the chicks can and I mix my own feed, so there are aspects of this feed that they can eat, and I am throwing out a little growing mash to make sure that, you know, they can get the food that they need also. But I love it. I think it's so cute to see the little chicks just running around in the yard instead of pinned up in a coop, cooped up in a coop. They're foraging. They love it. She guards them, she protects them, she sleeps with them, she shows them where to go and what to do. No problems at all. Now, one thing, I don't know that you could really do this if you didn't have a poultry net. I have a poultry net over the top, so there's no birds of prey that can come in and snatch them up. But like this, they're completely enclosed, so they're safe. I'll show you the they just brooder with her right in the nest box. The first 3 days they were too little to jump back up because the boxes are a little elevated, so she stayed with them on the ground. But now they're big enough to kind of fly up, jump up a little, get in the nest with her, and they just cuddle right up with her. Head down, lady. Yeah, Mama, gotta make sure they come out, huh? There they come. Yep, they work right in with the flock. They think they're big chickens. No acclimating. They're accepted right from birth. It's the absolute easiest way to raise them in the coop. Of course, you have to have a good rooster who won't be mean to them. Some roosters will. I won't tolerate a rooster that's mean to the hens or the chicks. So I have a good rooster. He's defensive to other animals and sometimes even to people, you know, when the hens are broody, but he's good with the chicks and with the hens, and that's all that really matters. And the mom will defend him against any of the other hens, which the other hens, you know, they're all, see how she's chasing the other hens around. If any of the other hens get a little bit rude with them, she'll take up for them. Does well. Very little work for me.